Hey, hey, give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. Hello. What's going on? What's happening? How's it going? Everybody good? Huh? Y'all cool? It's the chair, the true star of the show. Indeed. Indeed. It's my support staff. Let's see. Who we got? Where am I at? Am I here? There it is. Where am I at? Am I here? Yep, I'm here. You here? What's up? Joseph, Chef Rocky, Marty. Ah, what's going on, man? Crazy days, man. Oh, what's going on, boys? What's going on, boys? You want to come up and say hi? Come on. Who's up? Up, up. There he is. There's Osborne. There's Osborne. Thank you. Thank you very much. He's not the one that usually comes up. He's the older of the two. This is the one that usually comes up. All right. All right. Everybody chill. Double pug. You got the double pugs. You think you're going to be a movie star? All right. Come on. Go. All right. Cool. What's going on? Everybody make it back from Blade Show? Nah. Did any of you go to Blade Show? Rocky went to Blade Show, yeah? I'm rubbing my toe. My poor big toe. My poor big toe that made it through 57 years with no traumatic incidents. And then I was doing a favor for somebody. And it ended up getting me. Go. Both of you, go. Go. Um, so if you have old bowling balls that you've been have sitting around in your closet for the last 15, 20 years, you can take them and donate them to the bowling alley and basically just take them in and put them on the shelf. And if it, fits somebody's hand, then they can use, your old bowling ball. So had somebody who had a bunch of bowling balls, 3 of them to be exact. And the 2 of them were just no box, no bag, no nothing, just 2 regular bowling balls. And then the third bowling ball was in like this handbag um, that kind of looked like a basket, but it was a handbag. So I took the first 2 out there and put them on the floor of the back of the car so I could take them into bowling tomorrow. And I'm walking out with the third one, and the handle broke on the bag that it was in, and the bowling ball came out of the bag and landed on my big toe, and it hurts. What's up, Palmer? What's going on? What's going on? Ooh, second supper. Let's hear about it. Yeah, it's. I don't know if it's the nail's gonna fall off, but I can tell you, it's getting bigger than it normally is. I might have a hard time putting a shoe on in the morning. And I wasn't barefoot. I was wearing flip-flops. No good deed goes unpunished. Hefeweizen, local brewery. Go this way, and then that way. Oh yeah, get your hand off of it. That meatloaf with baking over it that was woven to look like a basket, nice and crispy. No, I think if you're gonna go full on bacon weaved, woven, maybe just maybe the tater tot casserole might be in order as a side to go with the meatloaf. What's up, Milton? Brutal, what's happening? There you go. My daughter wanted me to meet her. Well, I think they're just trying to do 2 for 1. The last couple of holidays, they've like gone over and did one dad on Father's Day, and then in the evening went over to the other dad's house. So this year on Father's Day, they decided instead we would just all meet together and go out to dinner. And we were going to go to a burger joint, but it was a pretty small place and it was pretty hot. So we knew the inside was going to be pretty busy and it would take a while to get a table. So we decided to do a local brewery that does pizza as well, called Pint House Pizza. So I got to meet my daughter's boyfriend's father and brother, and had some pretty amazing craft pizza, and had a couple pilsners as well. They make pretty good beer. Hey, Blue, what's going on, man? What's happening? Let's see. There you go, Blue. Now you're blue too. Huh? So I will be on next week, but I'll make this announcement again at the end. With everything I got going on, I'll probably do some impromptu pop-up lives, kind of well, I won't do them. I won't do them vertical, but I'll probably do some lives like if I go out to Vegas, when I get out to Vegas and everything. But the Tuesday late live is going to be on hiatus for just the month of July, just because I've got too much stuff going on and I'm traveling and I'm camping and I'm going to see shows, and so July will be no regular Tuesday late live. We'll do I'll do some pop-ups here and there from some of the exciting places. Usually in this neck of the woods, I don't know about out in Vegas. I get pretty good 5G, so I should be okay. Oh yeah. And when I get out to Vegas, I'm gonna spend at least a day hanging out with Demonoc. So we're gonna get that set up. Works out good because it's kind of their off season. Hold on a sec. All right. Hold on. Let me. Oh, straighten that out. Hey there. Hey, there you go. That's a little bit better. Hey, perfection. What if we take this out? Because this isn't for y'all. This is for me. That's better. Look at that. You're going to miss a bunch of lives in July, huh? You working? Taking the yacht to the Caribbean? Well, it's kind of funny this year. I'm going from one hot place to another hot place, so I'm not really going to get that much of a break. I'm leaving Central Texas in the month of July to go to Las Vegas in the month of July, so it's a drier heat, but it's heat nonetheless, and plenty of it. Oh, looking at colleges. Hmm. Oh yeah, we've been in the 90s for the last month already. But we actually have tomorrow they're saying that we could get 4 to 8 inches of rain because of the tropical storm that's forming out in the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know if it's going to get organized enough to get a name or not, but it should give us some much needed rain here. That'd be kind of nice. Nice to see old Scott. I think he did all right at the old Blade show. I'm seeing all kinds of cool stuff popping up around the internet that's got that edgy Bladeworks stamp on it. Alberto. That's what it'll be called if it organizes. Right now, it's not even actually a tropical storm yet. Imaginary vacations, man. You could go to that place where you could see the prairie dogs down in Lubbock. That's my favorite place in Lubbock is Prairie Dog Town. Yeah, my son, he's like all bougie when it comes to vacations. They either go to the Grand Caymans or one of the island that caught on fire here not too long ago. That was their other place that they like to go to on the regular. Burger King. When during the pandemic, before I retired from driving, I hit the drive-through at a Burger King, and it's not my normal go-to, but it was along the way, and I was starving, and I've never driven away and like not paid for my order or anything. But I pulled up to the window, and I had my own drink already in the vehicle, so all I actually wanted was a Whopper with cheese. And I got up to the window, and the guy told me it was going to be like $9.27, and I was like, no, 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 I didn't want the combo. I just wanted the burger. And he's like, no, that's how much it is for the burger. And I haven't been back to a chain restaurant to get a burger since then. I've gone to a couple chicken places and gotten chicken sandwiches. Gone to a couple sub places and gotten subs. but I ain't paying no $8 or $9 for a Whopper or a Big Mac. Ain't happening. You can get a good burger for $9, $10. Oh, killer whales named Dave and Pete. You especially have to watch out for them. Hell bent for leather. Ooh, did you see that? It almost got me. Yeah, it changed names here too because that was the group that used to sponsor when my son was in middle school. Texas Instruments was the one who had the mentors for the robotics team, and now I'm trying to remember what the heck they're called now. NX something or NS something. But I know they changed all three of the locations here in Austin got a new name. I don't remember the name of it either now. Now you can't stop thinking about the Caribbean. What's going on, Jeremy? How you doing? The last trip I took down in that neck of the woods, I really enjoyed. We went to Puerto Rico during the pandemic. I think it was like 2020, 2021. Actually, no, I think it was it was 2021. But minus all the BS we had to go through to get in and out of the state because of all the restrictions from COVID at the time. We stayed outside of San Juan about 15 miles on the coast at a resort that had a couple golf courses and their own private beach and everything. But it was only about maybe at 1/3 capacity. There wasn't a lot of things to do, like the fishing charters and stuff. There were only like maybe 15 to 20% of the companies were up and running. So we kind of had to do our own thing. But besides that, it was pretty cool. It was one of the better experiences I've had down in the Caribbean. And Puerto Rico is not necessarily the Caribbean, but yeah. And I haven't played any in the Northeast. I played a lot in the Midwest and down on the Gulf Coast. Back when I was in my 30s, it was called the something Golf Trail that went down through Alabama and Mississippi, and there was probably about a dozen courses that were made up this little deal, and we were trying to hit them all, but some of them were pretty crazy. Like you get down into some of those golf courses that have the swamps, and you got to like play target golf. That was not my cup of tea. That was I was a grip it and rip it kind of guy. I like big open fairways with the less trees the better. I played out in Florida a little bit. Played a lot in Texas, and then in the Midwest, we played in Nashville quite a bit. We went down to Gulf Shores, Alabama quite a bit. Played a little bit down in Kentucky, a lot in Indiana. I lived out by where Kyle lives. A lot in Indiana. We played all over Indiana. But in the wintertime, we could go down to like Nashville or down to Gulf Shores, and the golf was cheap because it was the off season. But the golf in Indiana at the time was non-existent. There you go, Marty. Night Blue, thanks for stopping in, brother. Take care. Dad jokes. And the funny thing is I could hear Marty telling the joke in my head. What's going on, Elcat? What's going on, Stevie? Wow. And everybody who just popped in. All right, let me do a few things here. And we'll do like that. Save. Save. That it? I don't think I missed anybody else. Middle of July. Last Wednesday during league, I had me a good week too. Little night hike probably won't have any service. Ooh, watch out for them bears, Stevie. Watch out for them bears. Yeah, last week on Wednesday, I did a 682. I shot a 682 last week on Wednesday. And didn't throw a single open frame. I was clean all the way through. And it was a good day. It was a good day. We'll see how tomorrow goes. We'll see how tomorrow goes. And this will sound funny to some people, but that 682 was on 9 and 10. And at my bowling alley that has 40 lanes, that's my favorite pair is 9 and 10. I bowled two 700s on 9 and 10 as well. And it's probably just in my head, but you know. Hey, boo boo. How about another picnic basket? Not Yogi. You bowl every day? No. 3 days a week. 3 days a week is about all I can muster anymore. Even though it's less than a mile from the house, and you know, interestingly, the property there's a sister location about 5 or 6 miles north of downtown Austin, and apparently that real estate is very valuable, and they decided to close it down and let somebody build something else there. So we're going to have the last actual real bowling facility in Austin is going to be right down the street from my house. And then if you get out into some of the other suburban towns around Austin, there's some bowling alleys there. But for a town as big as Austin is, for them to really only have one. Now, there is a small bowling alley up on the UT campus, but I don't even know if it's 12 lanes. It might be 10 lanes. So, and then there's a bunch of those places like Chuck E. Cheese where they have like all the games you can play for tickets, and then some of those places have bowling. But I tend to find that those places don't have they don't take care of their bowling alleys very well. Later, Palmer. Be good, man. If you can't be good, don't get caught. No, in fact, the funny thing, El Cap, is nowadays I don't practice as much as I used to. I used to practice, like you said, every day, and never got it. Never got it. It just bit me too. I got some stuff I can fix that with. Have to put a little bit of that skin on there. Well, I made it through 20 shows before I cut myself. I'm putting on a Band-Aid right now. Don't mind me. Well, one of the reasons that I got into bowling, and also one of the reasons I learned how to play pool, is because just about every base that we were ever stationed at, um, just about every base that we were ever stationed at had a bowling alley. Some of them big, some of them small, but but almost every base we were on also had a pool hall. And two things I learned: my dad wasn't going to let me beat him at bowling or pool unless I was good enough to actually beat him at bowling or pool. I never got any, here you go, here's something to boost your confidence. When I finally beat my dad at pool and beat my dad at bowling, I had to do it on my own and, figure it out. Um, you know, but when we were at, I remember when we were at Camp Pendleton, um, it had a huge bowling alley. I think that place was like 80 lanes. And next to it was a pool hall. And to play pool, you gave him your military ID, and it was a penny a minute. So, I mean, heck, you could play for 5 hours if you had $3. So it was pretty cheap entertainment. And we didn't spend a lot of time indoors, but that was one of the places where I did spend some time, was at the pool hall and the bowling alley. And I probably ate them out of all the French fries they had over the years. That was my go-to. The pool hall, and the bowling alley. You had to get me a big old order of French fries, French fried taters. Mm-hmm. No mustard though. No mustard. Every small town had a pool hall. Yep. And the funny thing is here in Texas, during the day, I think a lot of the pool halls even allow kids in still. I think there's a cutoff though, at like 8 o'clock in the evening or something like that. But I know even some of the karaoke spots will let some of the youngsters come in at the beginning of the night, and then usually between 8 and 9 o'clock, they chase all the youngsters out. But yeah, I even remember going back up to where my mom and dad were from, up in northeast Montana. little town of just over 800 people, and they had a pool hall. Even in Podunk, they had a pool hall. The arcades are a little bit different up there because in Montana, they have those poker machines where you can win money. So the video game arcades really never took off. Pool halls had pinball machines in them. But then when I was out moving around like east on the West Coast, what was your go-to video game back in the day when they used to take quarters? I like to play pinball mostly, but if I did play a video game, um, my favorite was Tempest with the little knob that you go back and forth and it makes the thing go. That was probably one of my favorite games. I probably gave that one a lot. Heck yeah. Yep. Now I even remember where our bus stop was when we got picked up to go to school. Um, there was a store called Lavicio's, but it was like a 7-Eleven, and they had two games in there in the corner. But I remember for a good solid 2 years that we lived outside of the back gate of Camp Pendleton. Um, I mean, I played Asteroids and had my name on the high score for probably a good year and a half of that 2 years. Yep. Well, they're kind of well, at least here in Austin, there's two locations called Pinballs with a Z on the end. Pinballs Arcade here in Austin, and they've got like 150 pinball games, and that's their specialty. But then they also are a bar and grill, so it's kind of taking on a different flavor a little bit than when we were younger, but it's drawing in, I think, a lot of the same people from the 70s and 80s. But I see a lot of young people in there too. Yeah. There was another one that I remember. I must have been, so this had to be late 70s, early 80s. But it was kind of disappointing to me because it was one of the first games that I ever saw that was kind of like three-dimensional. But I think it was called the Gauntlet. But it was like this total, you had your character, and I mean the whole thing was all out right in front of you and in the middle of and it was just the coolest thing. And I thought, oh, this is going to be the future. And now we're starting to get into some of the virtual reality stuff, but I thought there'd be a lot more of that. Now I think they were saying that they could like use AI to replicate somebody and make a hologram out of them and then put them on a stage and it would look just like they were still here. That's what I was looking for, hologram. I don't know if anybody else remembers that game. That was one of the first games that that was one of the first games that I remember that was like a full buck to play. And then it was like 50 cents for each power up after that. Leave me for the day for babysitting purposes. So when I was a kid, I was the oldest, so I was responsible for brother and sister. When before mom started doing hair, she was in the food and beverage business, so she worked nights at a really nice restaurant, like a prime rib steakhouse. So when dad was out to sea, mom would be gone and heading out right around the time we got home from school. So then we would have to cook and do homework and all that other good stuff. Man, that toe is sore. Mm. But yeah, I get you. Babysitting was an entirely different thing. We were kind of on our own a little bit more. And we did all right. I mean, heck, we made it through. Yep. Well, and and it also depends on where you're at and what the games are. Because I remember I went through a stretch where we lived over on the east side of Austin um, for probably a good 6 months. But we lived on a hill up over a bar that had a lot of live music called the Backstage, and they had probably 30, 40 video games in their little arcade section, and they had one where there was 4 seats side by side, and you could race these 4-wheel drive trucks, um, and you could race against 3 other people. And I think it's mostly just because we were drinking, but I know we dumped hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, into that stupid machine. But I've seen people do the same thing. What's the one that got popular? I didn't play it much, but Golden Tee. That was another one that a whole bunch of people spent a lot. I saw people put a ton of money in that thing. What happened to the toe? Um, I was putting bowling balls in the car so that we could take them to the bowling alley tomorrow and donate them. And one of them was in a handbag, and the handle broke, and the bowling ball fell out of the handbag and landed on my big toe. Direct hit. It sunk my battleship. Yeah, and that's when we quit going and doing the arcades and started buying into the whole get your own system thing, because it just got so expensive that if you played a lot of games and put a lot of quarters in, I mean, you realize it doesn't take that many months to spend as much as it would cost to buy a PS5, or back in the day a PS1 or 2. But heck, I think the first PlayStation we got was a PS2, and that was a gift from my parents to my son, and he was only like 4. Because prior to that, I think we had a Wii. We had a Wii for a while, and when I was a kid, we had a bunch of different systems. But yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But I got a bowl tomorrow, so I really don't want to be limping up there to the line. After I get done here, I'll go put some ice on it. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. And the funny thing is it bounced. I never heard the ball. I never heard the ball hit the concrete on the driveway. It literally hit direct on my toe, and then I reached down and grabbed it before it took off down the street or down the driveway. We have a pretty steep driveway, so if that thing would have got away, it would have been gone. I think it was a 15-pounder, but it was the heaviest one of the 3. I think the other 2 were like 13 or 14. But in exchange for, hold on a second. In exchange for getting rid of those, I kept one. This will make a good spare ball, I think. I'm going to take it in next week and see if they can drill it out for me. Oh yeah, it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna make my toenail fall off, but it definitely is going to. It left a mark. It left a mark for damn sure. ColecoVision. Now, when you say Coleco, the thing I remember is the little handheld football game was, I think, made, the one that I had was made by Coleco, if I'm correct. But I remember, man, that thing got a workout too. As far as game consoles go, the first one we got was well, we had Pong. I don't know how we had Pong, but I think that was the only game on that actual setup, whatever that setup was. And then because we showed interest in Pong, I think that's why the folks did the we got in television was the first one we got. And I remember I had a couple favorite games. I had one where you would like swing through the jungle on vines and try and dodge all the quicksand. And then the other one that I really liked was of all things, and I was never a skier, but the skiing, the downhill and the slalom skiing. That game, that was one of my favorite games. I don't know why. Quarterback pass. Oh. So what else this week? I haven't been carrying much other than this, really. I mean, this has been kind of hard to not put it in your pocket. I was jacking around with this earlier in the week. It's one of those Devos. I think it's the version 1 that nobody liked, but I got it for like $40. It's a good little flipper. It's a beater. That's what I've been using it for, is a beater. Donkey Kong. I did a lot of Donkey Kong. What else have I been carrying? I did carry this to the bowling alley. I like to keep my carry to the bowling alley pretty light, but this is kind of funny. When we did the Be Up, I donated that TRM for a giveaway, and I won the first giveaway. And this came from a friend of in the community who wished to remain nameless. But it's a great little deep carry, little light carry, a little bit of that CRKT Ruger action. Yep, it's one of the collabs with Ruger, the LCK. It's one of the for some reason CRKT is one of the value brands that I've kind of stuck with, because I the fishing and the kayaking. I got like 3 or 4 of their neck knives, and I don't really wear neck knives in any other situation other than being out in the kayak, because in the kayak it's really kind of hey, what's going on, Joe? In the kayak it's kind of nice to have it right here. And this has actually been my go-to for out doing some fishing, has been the spew. But I really like this little. I don't know if it would be ideal for cleaning a fish, but it'd get the job done. It's a little on the small side for that. And I've got a fillet knife, but I just usually don't take it with me. I keep it in my big, but I kind of like this thing. With that little lanyard on the back, it actually is a full, pretty good gripper. I didn't know if I'd like this that much or not, but it's a good little knife. See if I can not cut myself for the second time in the show. There we go. Nice. But this one, I've had on the belt a couple times in the last couple weeks. And let me tell you, it's a nice little setup. And that bad boy's sharp. There ain't no doubt about it. Keith the Knife Freak, it'll cut. It'll cut for sure. Yeah. And that thing smooth as butter coming in and out. Dig it. Oh. Well, I'll tell you what. We went and did some catfishing, and we got probably about, oh, almost filled up the whole cooler. And the guy offered to clean all the fish for us, and didn't take him up on it. I figured, this would give me some good practice. And man, cleaned like 50 50 catfish. My hands were so tore up, and man, next time, I'll pay the extra and let them clean them. That was a that was a lot of work to do by myself. Oh yeah, it was good, and I especially like it when it's fresh. Because when we were down in at one of the local lakes, and we just stopped by Wally World on the way back from the lake, and grabbed one of those little $50 fry daddies, and yeah, we did some catfish. In fact, I was shocked because the kids normally don't like fish, but something funny happens when they're catching their fish and they catch the fish. Man, every single one of them was just, eating them like they were chicken nuggets. Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. That's what the wife suggested at the time. Them hush puppies. Joe, you made it down to Blade, didn't you? Did you go to Blade Show? You just use scissors. Yeah. Oh. Oh, okay. Cool. You went for the peoples, man. That's cool. That's very cool. So I think I'm gonna try and make it out there next year. I'm gonna skip Texas and try and make it out to Atlanta. But I think I'm probably gonna have to do something like when I go to Vegas. A lot of the guys are like doubling up on rooms and stuff. But I'm such a night owl and I have such a weird schedule that I almost prefer to have my own digs. You know what I mean? Walleye's very good. That's one of my favorites. And if you like fish that taste like fish, um, I'm a fan of rainbow trout as well. Yeah, that's where I'm at too, Joe. I need to be able to have my space to, and I can even handle people in larger crowds for a limited amount of time. But that's why I think doing a 2 or 3 day show for me would be beneficial, because then I would get the opportunity to, hang out with different people in different environments. Not everyone. I was gonna say. Oh, mercy. Excuse me. Kubi Vagrant. This knife changed my opinion about a lot of things. Of all the knives I have in my collection, I don't think any of the knives that I've purchased in the last 3 years since I really started collecting, I don't think any knives have gotten as much use as this one. Just because it's easy to use, the action's phenomenal, titanium. And for those of you who follow Love Them Knives, you may have seen this knife naked before, because when he first got it, he did the review on it and took it apart, put it back together. You know how Lee used to do. And then he sold it. And I think, as far as retail or secondary wise, it was probably one of the first knives I bought that was kind of on the premium side, that didn't come in like a mystery box or something. Because I think this was originally like a $200 knife. And then I got it off Lee for $100. Night, Todd. Later, Journey. Beef Wellington. So, Mattisfaction. Funny story. So the last time that I got in any trouble was in 1998, and I was in Cleveland, Ohio for a work function. It was a training class, 2-day training class. And on the first night, they treated us to dinner. And everyone got their dinner. And I had ordered the beef Wellington. And it turns out, when you take orders from 24 people, sometimes you forget somebody. So everybody's got their food, and we come to the realization that they didn't put in my order. Well, everybody planned on going out afterwards. So I decided to decline, because they said it would still take another 25 minutes if they wanted to put in the order. So I bailed on it, and I was like, oh, I'll grab a burger or a dog while we're out. So we caught the train into the flats, and had a couple beers and a shot and a hot dog. And we were coming off of this rooftop bar. We were coming down the stairs that led down to the street, the main street. And this guy behind us stumbled and fell. And he landed on me, and I kind of held him up. Well, he caught his balance and he stood back up. Well, then the drunk fool took offense to whatever, me helping him not fall on his head, I guess. But he and I ended up rolling into the street out the door, fighting. I don't know why the guy wanted to fight, but he wanted to fight. So we go rolling out the door, and right in front of 2 cops. And I guess the cops just made the assumption, because we were down in the bar area and that we were fighting in the street, that we were both drunk and disorderly, blah, blah, blah. Well, the dude who had me grabbed me and threw me up against the wall. He ripped my shirt, and I saw my wristwatch explode off of my arm. And I spun back around, and about that time, I got whacked on the head with a billy club. And then a second guy joined in. So, needless to say, I ended up in the lockup down in downtown Cleveland. And after they had me in lockup for about 2 hours, they decided it might be a good idea to take me over to the emergency room and have me checked out, because those two guys had their way with me for about a good 2 minutes. And my face was looking pretty rough. So they got me over to the jail, or over to the hospital, and I got the coolest ER doc you could ever get in a situation like this, because basically he told them that they needed to hold me because my alcohol level was too high. So that kept me from going back to jail. And then they basically were saying that they were holding me because I had concussion protocol and this, that, and the other. So I got held until about 2 hours before I had to go to court the next day. I got held at the emergency room at the hospital. So I got released just in time to go to court. And I guess they'd had trouble with these particular individuals before, because after the doctor put in his 2 cents into the equation for the judge, they dropped all the charges. They paid the doctor's bills. And I was given the advice to get the heck out of Ohio and never come back, which I had no problem with whatsoever. But that's one of the reasons why I dislike Ohio so much. But that all started with a beef Wellington, man. You know, and that's the last time I think I ever ordered a beef Wellington. It's also the last time I ever got in trouble. Kind of sounds like Ohio sucks. Kind of does. Especially like if you're a truck driver, because Ohio is one of those states where like cars can go 65, 70, but the trucks can only go 55. And man, those state troopers just sit on the interstates and they clean up. They clean up. When I was trucking, the states were Ohio, Virginia, and California. Those 3 states were the biggest pain in the butt in the entire country. Uh-oh, look out. Well, I didn't get to eat my Wellington, and I did get arrested. I got pictures of my face somewhere. I'll have to look next time I go through. I've got like 2 or 3 boxes of, like, shoe boxes of pictures. And I think there's like 4 or 5 pictures of me playing in a softball tournament the weekend after that happened. And like both of my eyes were black, my cheeks were still all puffy. I got jacked up, dude. But I bet if there wasn't 2 of them and they didn't have sticks, I would have probably been all right. Yeah, I'm not. And that's probably, the thing is, there are places where, like, for instance, when I was like 18, I got in a little bit of trouble being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nothing major, but I ended up in jail up in King County, up in Seattle area. And I mean, that was kind of cush. I mean, that was really, it really was not that bad. But the city lockup in Cleveland, man, that's a different animal altogether there. You find yourself a corner that you can fight out of, and don't let anybody get behind you. Yeah. Now you made me want a beef Wellington, Maddie. Thanks. Thanks, man. All right, guys. I'm not sure whether or not Mr. Sharif's doing anything tonight, but I'm out. I got to go do some work. And thanks for stopping in. I'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll do it again. And then, like I said at the beginning of the show, for those of you who aren't here, um, the month of July, I'm going to take off from Tuesday late lives, and I'll do a couple of pop-up lives on my travels and everything. But I promise I won't do the vertical ones like Casey's been doing. I'll figure out a way to make it work the other way. But anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. Appreciate y'all, and have a great week. And we'll see you out there. Later.